In the previous lecture, we modified our text composable a little bit. We changed the font size, we provided some color, and we can do a lot of stuffs with our text composable by providing each of these attributes or arguments when necessary, and we will do that when it is necessary. Maybe when we create applications in full phase, then you will see me using one of these attributes. So if you don't remember, it is very obvious at this beginning level to remember all these stuffs and how these things works. It is best thing to practice, and it will be best for you to go with each one of these attributes at a time to make it easy to remember. So now you know how to increase the font size, and now you know how to increase or provide a separate color, and we will do with styles and font family in later videos. So I think we should show something else on our screen. Instead of text, let's show an image. So to show an image, there is a built-in composable which is called image. And we can show an image on our screen in various ways. For example, we can show an image directly from internet, and to do that we must have an URL so that Android can download the image and show the image directly on the screen. But that needs some prerequisites, some other libraries, and we'll do that in later modules. But now, for now, to show an image, I will use an existing image. Maybe I have downloaded that image on my computer, and you should always you should also download any image from internet, like a Jetpack image or PNG image. Android always recommends to use the PNG format images. So I have downloaded many images on my machine. Now I want to import an existing downloaded image in this Android Studio in the project folder or in this project, and our image will reside in this resource drawable directory. We can simply copy an image and then paste it directly over here, but there is a convention and there is a predefined rules to import an image as a resource. So to do that, we have to go to this you have to click this window over here, or maybe you have to click this resource manager button over here. So let's click it, and now make sure that this drawable is selected, because now we are going to import an image as drawable. Now click this plus icon over here and click import drawables, and now just explore your computer and just go to the drive or directory where you have put your images. I have put all the images maybe in the H drive, and then images over here, and then maybe okay, so you see that I have lots of images over here, and maybe I can go inside this movie posters and then select one of the images. So let me just pick one. I'm not quite sure what this image is, but it doesn't matter. So now let's click OK. And so this is an image. I have downloaded it from Android official website. So this is a sample image. And whenever you import an image, make sure that the image size is not too much big. So the image I'm importing is only 23 kilobytes. So now from this drop down list, let me select density, and from this value let me select no density. So why I have done this? Because images can be small and large. If you capture an image with a DSLR camera, then the image size could be so big, maybe that could up to 5 to 10 megabytes. And to show that big image on a small place like our window, that can actually eventually cause to memory leak or memory overflow exception. So we should always pick a small image. And with this no density value, Android will prevent scaling the image. So if the image is so big, then Android will try to scale down that image. Or if the image is so small in terms of resolution, then Android may try to scale up that image, which can end up in blurry images. So with no density, we are telling Android that you don't have to scale up or scale down that image. So we will see the actual dimension of the image within the screen. So now with this configuration or selection, click next and then simply press import. And you see that our image is here. And if you go back to this drawable folder, you see our pick one image over here, which is something like that. So it is already inside our drawable folder. So now that we have successfully imported an image which lies under the no DPI section, now it's time to show this image to our screen. And to show an image, we have an image composable. So we can directly show the image inside this surface over here. So I think by this time you figured that out by yourself, that a composable function is called within another composable function. So we have provided our first composable greeting, and now whatever we have put inside greeting, we are seeing over here and in the emulator as well. So we could actually put this text composable directly. I'm just copying it, and we can actually put this text composable directly as the surface argument over here. And also maybe in this case I need to provide the name as a hard-coded string, for example hello world, and you will see the output as well. And let me just remove this modifier as well. So now I think you see this is the output. So we could actually provide the text directly as the child of this surface composable, but the convention is whenever we want to add a new component or new user element, it is better to create another or new separate composable to keep track of user elements that we are using in our application, so that at later stages we can easily find our user elements and modify it accordingly. So let me remove this, or let me just go back to the previous state by pressing Ctrl Z few more times. Okay, I have maybe gone too far. Okay, so now instead of this text, let me just select this text and press Ctrl Alt and /, just like that. That means Ctrl Alt and /. Ctrl plus Control Alt and then this / over here. So if you press after selecting a portion of your code, if you press this key, this code will be disabled or commented out. So now instead of text, let me define an image composable, or maybe just like I told you earlier that whenever we add a new composable, we should create our own composable to keep track of the user element. So let's go ahead and create a new composable functions. So @composable fun my first image, and this should take parameters like we can always pass the data to a composable function. That means what data that composable function should show, or that user element should show. It's a good practice to provide the data from outside, but we are at a very early stage, and we will learn about the conventions, about the modifiers. All composable functions have a modifier argument. I will talk about modifier a little bit later, or maybe in the next lecture, but for now let's not provide any argument for our image over here. So let's provide the body of this function, and now to show the image we need to introduce another new composable built-in function, which is image over here. So you see that we have an image composable which can take various arguments like a painter, the image vector, the bitmap. It actually depends the source of the image. So we just imported an image as drawable. So in this case, we will provide, or we will use this version, these arguments over here. So let's click it. So we need to provide a painter. The argument, the first argument requires a painter object. You just simply type painter resource and also provide an ID. So this painter resource is actually a function, and most importantly is another composable function, and the parameter over here we need to pass an integer. So we need to provide an integer value. So what is this integer value? We need to provide this image over here, this pic1.jpg, but it requires an integer. Actually, whenever we import any resource in this resource folder, Android actually create a unique integer value for each resource, and we can refer that value by a special convention or by referring some special keywords. Just look at me, or just see what I type right now. So I'm typing r dot drawable dot, you see I am now getting the pic1 over here, which actually returns an integer. So what is this r.drawable.pic1? So this r actually a class that will be, this r class is actually or will be generated at the runtime. So whenever we run this application, this R class will be generated and it will hold all the resources. And then we use drawable because our resource that I'm going to use is inside the drawable folder. So if that resource were inside this mipmap, then I should refer r.mipmap. Okay. So now after drawable, then I am referring to the image name, and this whole thing is actually indicated an integer value that will be inside this R class, and it will be automatically generated. So we don't have to keep track of this integer value. We just refer the file just like this one, just type R and then the folder name or the resource type and then the file name. And now I need to pass another argument as content description. It requires a string and it requires a nullable string, and I'm passing null in this case. So what is this content description over here? Okay, this content description actually requires a string that will describe this image, and this will be for accessibility purpose for disabled peoples and for talkback. For some person who is unable to see what's on the screen, maybe after tapping that image, user can hear a voice saying that this is an image of a person or something like that. So it's a good practice to provide a description of our resource that we are using to tell our disabled user that what is inside or what is on the screen by just tapping or tapping a button or tapping on the image or tapping on the screen and so on. So I'm providing null because I am just using this image as a static content like a banner or something like that. That's why I just provided null. So now I have just created a composable function which holds another composable called image, which takes a painter object and also a content description. Now this composable function that we have used, I need to provide it or add this to our set content over here. Currently this surface composable holding this greeting composable. So instead of greeting, let me comment out this code and let's now type our newly created function, my first image. So my first image, and let's wait. And if you see something like that render problem or something like that, just click this refresh, build and refresh button. It will refresh and rebuild the application and show the preview, and it will take some time. So you see that we are able to see our first image, and we added our first image to this my app composable, and my app is added at the set content and as well as the preview. If we wouldn't refract this code, and if we didn't actually create this my app and put that code inside that, then we maybe have to put this my first image method over here and also in the preview. So that's why refactoring is so important. So now the great thing is we are looking at our first image. It is somehow at the center of the screen, and also we can resize the image. We can specify the height of the image, the width of the image, and if we want to do that, then we need to do a special thing or introduce a special thing, which is a modifier that we are looking at from the very beginning, but I didn't talk about this modifier thing at all. Now it's time to talk about modifier, and I'll do that in the next lecture.